So let's go ahead and do that. So what else have you guys been doing recently? I recently finished out my job basically. The Sears store I was working at closed, so that's it for that. There's literally no Sears stores left in that area, in this area. And the one Kmart store we have left is going to close too. So that sucked. It wasn't due to the store management, no. The management was great, mostly. It was actually just couldn't compete with Amazon and Walmart basically. And the location it was in was pretty much not a great one. The only thing we really had was, the only other things we really have are boss cops and the movie theater, which doesn't attract as much business as it could. Like, it attracts I guess a good deal of business, but the other Sears at the other mall had a better location with that movie theater, and even that one closed, so.
Welcome to Town Square, Spyro. Begin exploring by gliding to that area with the bulls. Use the right stick to get a good look.
So yeah, it's not looking good for retail stores in general, even with good locations. Because here the other store had the better location and they still closed, so. I basically stayed until the end of the final day for customers. Oh wow, I forgot that when you actually headbutt the bulls, they kind of stay stuck there. They don't die instantly. But yeah, that was a bit of a sad day. Not for some of us personally, but just because the store didn't make it. Even though it tried its best, because like I said, the management was actually pretty great for most people. We just couldn't compete with all the modern ways of shopping. They were too old-fashioned. Younger people didn't want to shop there. They wanted to shop at places like Amazon and Walmart, so it is what it is.
Thanks, Spyro. I had the worst itch on the tip of my wing. Did you know that you get your longest glides by pressing the jump button at the very top of your jump?
Okay, so how did that dragon have time to make a dang Spyro cape if he was frozen in place in that position? In crystal. Like, I thought that was a birthday cake at first, and I'm like, wait a minute, Spyro celebrating his birthday? Like, what the hell? Like, no, that's a thank you cake. How on earth did he make that? Was that just magic? Yeah, you can't get me, fake bullfighter. Fake Toreador. Oh, there's the thief I was looking for earlier. That's the one I was telling you about. Damn, Spyro got headbutted there for a moment.
Spyro, did you see a man dressed in blue running around here? He's a thief, and he's stolen a dragon egg. You've got to track him down and get that egg! Run! Run! I'm getting a little winded.
Why couldn't you track him down before you got frozen? Like, are you really telling me you're that useless? I know Spyro's younger and he's more, I guess he has more vitality, but come on, the thieves are not that fast. Oh, here's some chickens. So I couldn't see closely if they did the chicken effect or not, because I know in the original when you torch two chickens, they basically turn into what chickens look like in the market, you know, in the supermarket, with no skin, I mean, with no feathers on them, all plucked and headless. Let's see. Nah, they just look kind of roasted. I thought maybe they would turn into what you see the chickens looking like in the supermarkets. One thing I always wondered about these places is, what are these towns and realms built on? Because you know, if you look at many of them, there's basically no land underneath them. They're just kind of floating out in space. So like, are these all magical realms like Asgard, basically, where it floats out in the middle of space? Well, obviously they're magical, but you know what I mean. Like, it's basically magic holding them in place, and there's no foundations beneath them. So we gotta run jump to that one. But yeah, it was a little bit sad for some folks. I met some good people there. A couple of good people that I became friends with. Others I just respected. They're still nice anyway. Oh wow, we got another trophy. Leaf on the wind. I guess it's just for flying and making it to this little area. Yeah, I'm gonna kick your ass. Can't taunt me. Damn, he took the shortcut. There you go. Oh, there he is. Wait a minute, where did he go? I guess he went back to the top of the little hill over there. Now there were a couple of bad managers, I'm not gonna lie. There was this one manager, I won't say their name. It's none of the recent ones. It's one that left us a long time ago, but they were probably one of the worst managers I have ever seen in my life. Like, if the store had been managed solely by managers of that type of person, you can see why it was failing, but it actually wasn't. They were pretty unique in how terrible they were. Here we go. Ah, damn, I wanted to burn them. Yeah, other than that though, like, management wasn't terrible this Sears, unlike what some people think. It was actually pretty great, but yeah, it just can't compete. And Eddie Lampert, you know, like, he really needs no explanation. Like, when somebody asks, why was Sears doing as terrible as they were recently, all you gotta say is Eddie Lampert. That's it. You don't gotta give any more context, you don't have to say anything more, just Eddie Lampert, that explains it all. Like one of my co-workers said recently on that last couple of days before we all left, Eddie Lampert, son of a bitch. Yeah, I always found these guys annoying, but they're fun to chase. Come on. Damn, Spyro got off track. There we go. Torched him. And let's get those 3 treasure chests over there while we're at it. Ah, okay, so they actually added, you know, they actually did add detail to the surroundings now. Okay, I see. So this one's built on water, basically. You can see it there. That makes sense. Yeah, because before in the original Spyro, because, you know, they were working under memory limitations, you basically didn't have a foundation to any of the buildings or towns or stuff like that. They were kind of just floating in midair. This one you can actually see the water surrounding it, so that's why I brought it up. It's actually pretty cool. Look, you can even see the mountains far away, so that's some nice detail on it.
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro. You can always check your progress by accessing the guidebook through the pause menu.
Thor was always my favorite of the dragons because you expect him to be, you know, this tough-looking dragon and sound so tough, and he actually sounded like a nerd from a bookstore or something. Although here he sounds more like an old grandpa, but yeah, that was nice how they defied your expectations. Like, I thought when you first see the name Thor, you know, even back then before the Marvel movies, you're expecting this big, tough warrior type dragon, and no, he's just this old-fashioned sounding looking nerd. So we got all the dragons. How many gems are we missing? 8. Oh, and let's take a look at the guidebook. Let's see what it says. Alright, so we got 65% of Artisans. Stonehill's done. Town Square just needs the 8 gem. Let's look at the skill points. Oh, here they are. They even list them for you. Ah, okay, so you gotta get all the bulls stuck. Okay, so that means we're gonna be replaying this later on. Probably not now because I want to move on to the other stages, but yeah, we're definitely gonna come back and replay that. Okay, and so there's skill points for the bosses, but not for Toasty though, which I wonder why. And about earlier, I'm sorry, did I spoil a surprise for Toasty for you? Not that it's a big surprise, because you see it in the trailer, but yeah. If they didn't see the trailer and didn't play the first Spyro, some people might not know what he is, but I actually find that part of the appeal, knowing what he is, because this is a pretty fun boss to fight. It was one of those bosses that when I played the first Spyro game, even though I preferred Crash at the time, it kind of lets you know, like, oh wow, like this game actually has a sense of humor that's on par with Crash's. So yeah, we're gonna go probably do Toasty soon. If not the next stage, we'll do him after that. Yeah, I don't know sometimes, because you can do the bosses in Spyro out of order. You know, I think depending on the area, you can actually do the boss first. It's not like in Crash and Mario games and stuff like that, where you actually have to build up to it. You can actually do the bosses anytime you want in the first Spyro game, but I don't know, I just don't like doing the bosses right away. Like, it kind of takes some of the climax out of the game. I like to wait, do at least a few stages on them. Do at least 2 or 3 stages before you do the boss, just to make it interesting. You know, get some experience behind Spyro. Yeah, I really miss that hover ability from 2. You know, that's one of the most useful things you can get there, because it makes jumps like this so much easier, where you can just press the little triangle and hover over the landing. So the first Spyro has its charm, Like, it's definitely one of my favorite games from the PS1 era, but 2 and 3 are definitely better. You can see why, just because of the abilities that they added for Spyro. It definitely makes the game a lot easier to handle and a lot more fun to play. Like I said, the main criticisms I've seen of this Spyro game is that it's basically a collectathon, which applies to the others as well. 2 and 3 are the same, but in this one you really feel it. Oh, there we go. Complete, 100%. So yeah, you really feel it here compared to the first Crash game, where you also kind of feel the basic structure there, because the first Crash game is not as sophisticated as the second or the third. So yeah, you really feel just that basic gameplay design here. You know, it's not an overly complicated game. It's not meant to be, it's just fun. But yeah, you do a lot more stuff in the second and third Spyro games. Especially with the orbs. The orbs in the second one. To hunt down the orbs. Some of those mini games are just plain awesome. Just over there. Let's beat up this guy again. I don't think he has anything else right now. Let's just kill him for the heck of it. There you go. Oh wait, he's still alive. Yeah, he didn't have gems on it. He had basically those little circles that you get to gain an extra life for Spyro. That sack looks strange for some reason though. Like, I won't mention what it looks like, but that does not look like a burlap sack. I'll tell you that. So I think we're gonna do one more level, and then we'll do Toasty, and that'll be it. Because I want to get back to the Eagles game just to see if they get mauled. Probably not, because when I turned it off to go here, they were doing pretty good against the Saints. The Saints were doing kind of badly, but hopefully the Eagles get crushed. I'm not a real big fan of football at all. I don't like it generally, but I want to see them get crushed. Just because. Yeah, even though I live in Philadelphia, I'm not a real big fan of the Eagles. I'm just not. There's, I think it's Marco the Balloonist.
Wow! I see you've been busy rescuing dragons, Spyro. You may travel to the Peacekeeper's world if you like. Are you ready to go?
No, we're not. They actually added voice to the Balloonist, which is kind of nice. In the original, I think they were silent. They just saved all the voices for the dragons. But they actually added one here, which is pretty nice. So there's Sunny Flight. There's Dark Hollow, which is not one of my favorite stages. I don't know why that is, but I never really liked that stage much. Okay, so I think we can't go to Toasty yet. I think we have to do one more stage and then we can go to him. Because I want to see Spyro beat up that lamp. Oh wait, or could he be through here? Wait a second. Oh, there he is. Rescued Arts.
Cool flash! Do that again!
The Artisans' boss is through a portal behind me. You can challenge him now, if you feel you are ready.
Alright, so we found all the dragons in the Artisans world. That sheep is annoying me, come on. Okay, so there's Toasty, but we're not going to tackle him yet. We're going to do one more level. And just to finish things out, because I think the only thing we have left is Dark Hollow and then the flying level, which we're not going to do here. Like, I'm not going to do in this playthrough because that thing is a pain. And it takes me several times to usually get it right. It's not one of those things that it takes a couple tries. So I'm not going to do it here. I'm going to do Dark Hollow instead. And then we're going to toast Toasty, and that'll be it for the playthrough. Hopefully the game hasn't ended yet, because a lot of the players were getting injured. There was all sorts of shenanigans with calls and foul plays and penalties and who knows what crap. So hopefully it's still got a little bit of ending left. But hopefully they didn't recover and, you know, just completely beat the Saints into mush. 'Cause that'll suck. Yeah, those guys have shields, so I think you can't flame them. Let me see. Oh yeah, you can. Okay, so it's not them. There's some enemies later on that do have metal shields, so you can't use your flame on them. You either gotta get them from behind, or else you gotta, yeah, flame them from behind. Come on. There we go. Damn, Spyro got flattened. Look at that, one of them actually turned into a giant roasted leg. Oh yeah, so that's the club that they're holding. That is one huge ass club, let me tell you. It reminds me of the clubs in the Crash Bandicoot game in Crash 3, where you have the double-headed guys in the medieval levels that are holding like this giant drumstick that they whack you with. Those are the mean clubs. Man, imagine if we had chickens that big in real life. How gnarly would that be? It'd be terrifying, but also gnarly.
Big enemies like this Nork with the club cannot be charged, but a quick flame, that should defeat them.
You ever wonder if they'll ever do a little bit, if they ever do a Spyro game where he's a little bit more grown up and bigger in size? Not a full-grown adult dragon, because that'll be boring, but just a little bit bigger in size so he can tackle some of those enemies. And maybe we can get some different gameplay styles. Because as much as I love Spyro, it gets kind of odd always playing as this short dragon, whereas literally every other dragon is huge. You know, it gets kind of old, so I wonder if they'll ever do that type of Spyro game. Just have them a little bit bigger, not fully grown, not an adult, just, you know, able to tackle some of the fiercer monsters and enemies on his own with brute force. Well, I guess it depends on how well this game does, if they'll do any more. Same with Crash, where I guess it did so well that they'll probably do a new Crash game eventually. Alright, so the Crash remake were actually pretty good. But it looks like this one might actually be just as good, if not better. Because it's basically everything we loved about Spyro, only modernized. The game looks gorgeous, let me tell you. So there's a key that we need for that one chest.
Spyro, wanna know a secret?
Use the action button when you want to zoom in and look around.
Oh, your secret's safe with me.
Ah, the action button. I always shake my head at that in Metal Gear Solid, where they're trying to get you immersed in the game, you know, immersed in this good tactical story about Solid Snake's mission, and then the Colonel tells you, use the action button to climb down. And I'm like, oh man, Kojima, really? Like, you can't just put it on the screen, you have to actually have the guy tell you, use the action button to climb down. It completely breaks the immersion of the game. Oh man. I'm glad game design is changing so they just put the things on screen. I mean, it was changing even back then, because even back then you would have games like Soul Reaver 2 where they would just tell you on screen to do something. They never brought it up in conversation. But I'm glad that they're mostly doing away with it. You know, in modern games like in Spider-Man, you really don't get told at any point what to do by one of the characters. It's basically put on screen. And I think that's the best way, because it keeps the immersion of the game while reminding you it's just the game and telling you how to play it.
Oh, it's you. I wasn't sure if you'd escaped those annoying little creatures. Of course they wouldn't bother me, but here's a hint. Their metal armor is fireproof, but a charge attack will take care of them.
For a moment there, I thought that Jug had phased right through his character. That always happens even in modern games. You'll be playing Spider-Man and the guy phases through the wall. It just breaks the immersion, but no. He was balancing on his tail. It's kind of gross. It was like a cobra in one of those, you know, little Arabian tricks where they had the cobra curled up in the pot and then the music guy just lulls them out with the flute or whatever it is he's playing. Alright, so we got everything. It's time to get out of here. Where do we go again? No, that's where we started. Yeah, let's get out of here so we can go and kill Toasty, because that's my favorite boss in the game. By far. Jocks is the weirdest. I still don't know what the hell they were thinking with Jocks, but Toasty's my favorite to play. He's fun. Yep, let's return home. So we're making good progress, guys, because as I told you, Spyro the Dragon is not a long game. It seems like it might be long because of all the treasure you have to collect, but it's actually pretty short compared to the other entries in the series, the second and the third. Even the fourth one, despite having only, what is it, 13 levels, I think, it still takes you longer to complete because those levels are just so long. And there's so many objectives to do in them, so many stuff, so many things you have to fulfill that it takes you a while to finish that game. I never finished it, to be honest, because of the loading times. They were just horrible, so I actually liked some of what they did. You know, I didn't hate the game like many people did, but I just didn't finish it because it's too long. You know, the loading times is just too much waiting. And then if you accidentally exit out of a stage, you gotta go back in. That's 54 minutes of waiting, so that was too long. And then the GameCube version helped out. The problem with the GameCube version is it runs like crap, so the frame rate was not right. So either way, you were screwed. You either dealt with long loading times or else crap frame rate. Either way, you could win. Okay, so here's Toasty. So we're gonna toast this guy, and that'll be it. Ooh, I like that shade against Spyro. Looks like he's heading into hell, basically. But it's a nice sunset type feeling. It reminds me of the sunset in Metal Gear Solid 2. It's still probably one of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen in the game. Yeah, you want to kill those shepherds because they basically command the dogs to flatten you. Ouch. Are you kidding me? Oh wow, so they actually take two... What is it? Did they take 2 hits to kill? Or is it... Well, let's see. Did I just not hit him right? Let's see. Okay, so they take 2 hits to kill. And we gotta kill this guy first. Okay, you imagine how terrifying those enemies would be in real life. If you had shepherds that could just command you, they could command their dogs to attack and they would just jump right on you and flatten you, like, holy crap. I'm trying not to curse too much, you know, despite what I said earlier, because this is a family-friendly playthrough. Oh, and here you see the water. Yeah, I like how they did actual detail below the buildings and towns, you know, rather than just having a colorful void. Damn. Oh wow, we have no hit points. Crap, I just realized we have no hit points at all. One more hit and we're done for. And there's no sheep around either. Oh crap. Oh, that was not good. That was not good at all. Spyro can't swim, it seems. Well, we needed it anyway, because we only had 1 hit point left and we were done for, so it didn't make a huge difference. Alright, so we gotta be more careful with these guys. Those dogs actually look kind of cute, the way that one was yawning there. Come on. Come on, Fido. So basically torch that guy first and then take care of Fido. Let's collect that. You always want to collect the stuff the enemies leave behind, even if they don't leave behind any gems, because that's what gets you extra lives. And as you can see, even though the game is an easy game, you might need them sometimes. I think it's what, like 24 to get a new life, or 20, something like that. Yeah, I guess those would be the embodiment of the phrase, "Let sleeping dogs lie." It's funny, there's a zombie film which is actually kind of decent called "Let Sleeping Corpses Lie." And the original title was "The Dead at Manchester Moor." And for some reason, they decided to change it in the US to "Let Sleeping Corpses Lie," which is... it makes no sense whatsoever. You know, because the corpses aren't disturbed in the movie. It's radiation that brings them back to life. And secondly, they don't really care if they are disturbed or not, because they're still coming to eat everything in their path. So like, it makes no sense that they change the title to that. Because even the main characters aren't trying to disturb them. Like, it's this stupid scenario where basically the guy gets framed for murder. The sheriff, I guess, for that town, even though he has all the evidence to the contrary, still thinks the guy with the chick is running around killing people, even though it's the zombies and they're in mass. And so he's basically trying to hunt down the explanation for what happened and clear his name. and show them evidence that, you know, verifies that it's the zombies. Wow, look at these pictures. It's actually some pretty nice detail. And yeah, it doesn't go well for him. But it's still a pretty decent little movie. It has probably one of the most disturbing scenes with a zombie that anyone has seen. If you've seen the movie Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, you know which one I'm talking about. Okay, so there's a pretty nice painting. I think that's either the Artisan home world, or else is, I guess it's probably this castle. It looks pretty nice. Oh, there's a nice pier. Alright, so Toasty, here we go.
Nasty Nork has put one of his most devious henchmen in charge of the Artisan world.
Bring him on! I think I smell a barbecue.
Be careful, Spyro. Toasty has many tricks up his sleeve.
That dragon looks a little bit like Garfield, if you ask me. You know, either Garfield or the Hilden from Legacy of Kain, but I think Garfield's probably more close to it. Okay, so here we go, Toasty. Here we go, guys. Yep, so this big, powerful sorcerer or scarecrow type thing. I guess it's a scarecrow. He doesn't really have any powers on his own. Yep, look at it. Yep, so that big powerful scarecrow thing is just a sheep on stilts. Or a lamb on stilts. You better run, sheep. Spyro's coming to get you. Yeah, I guess it's a lamb since it's just one, but you better run, lamb. And there we go, he's got no defense left. Look at him taunting you with that leg. Stupid lamb on stilts. There we go. Burnt toast. It's funny, I remember him being a little tougher than that, but I guess he doesn't really have any powers besides just the scythe, does he? I'd forgotten he was just a scarecrow. For some reason I thought he was a sorcerer. Maybe I'm confusing it with one of the other enemies in the game. Yeah, I think there's one later on in the game that does throw little wind tornadoes at you. I think that's what the one I was thinking of. But yeah, that big, powerful scarecrow type guy is just a sheep on stilts. Or a lamb on stilts. So let's recover all our hit points. So I guess there's no skill point for that simply because, I guess because of the dogs. You know, they're so annoying. How they jump up and fly. Any player, unless you're the most skilled, is getting, you know, a perfect run of that thing. You know, you're gonna get hit at least once. There's no way you're getting a perfect run of that stage. Okay, so it says there's 9 gems somewhere around here. We've got a lot of recording to do later on. Oh wow, so Spyro can't even go into the... He can't even go into the water. Like, that's new. Like, did he do that in the first one? I don't remember, because I thought the water was harmless, but... I guess maybe it's steaming? Or is it just that little pond right there? Because I know he generally can't go into the water, but I thought it was just this, you know, like the main voids in the regular stages. I didn't know that little pond could actually harm him. Wonder how Nasty North came to recruit some of these guys. Like that lamb on stilts. Like how the hell did Nasty North decide that that was a perfect minion? You know, a lamb on stilts. Like what made him take one look at that thing and go, ooh, here's the perfect guy to send up against Spyro. You know, a lamb with a pair of stilts and a scythe. Which I still have no idea how he wields. Because if he's a lamb on stilts, then how is he balancing on the stilts while controlling the scythe at the same time? Okay, so there's one gem missing around here, I think. That's all we're left. See it here. Let's see if we can get a higher view. Check the entrance around Toasty. It's not here. Okay, so it's not there. That only leaves the other spot. The little maze that leads to Dark Hollow, so it's probably in there. I like how the sheep sound like springs too. Okay, so it's not here either. Maybe go around? Huh. Oh, there they are. I see them right there. Here's one and two. There we go. Alright, so Spyro the Dragon, the remake, or remaster I guess. So thoughts and impressions, it's actually pretty cool. I like the way they modernized the look of Spyro. I like the way they updated the graphics and his looks. You can see all the details now. You can see the scales on his body. The fairies look a lot better, the enemies look a lot better. It looks like a real breathing cartoon world. Kind of the way Ratchet and Clank looks. So I'm digging it. Having a lot of fun playing too. Like Spyro is one of those games where it's very calm. Like you don't get overly frustrated at anything in this game, except for a couple of instances. But it's just really fun and laid back to play. One of those games that, like Mario, you just play for pure gameplay sake, not because you're that interested in the story or because you want to hear the voice acting or because it's got the most impressive graphics. It's just overall pure fun to play, so I'm enjoying it and I'm having a lot of fun doing this recording for it. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Next time when we start off, we're probably going to do the flight thing, sunny flight, before moving on to Peacekeeper's World. If we don't pass this, because sometimes those flying stages are a hassle, we'll just move on to Peacekeepers anyway and then return back to it in another segment. Alright, so thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you next time on Spyro, the Dragon Remastered Edition. Bye bye!